I designed these characters with the question in mind: what would survivors of the twilight of the gods Ragnarök from Norse mythology look like? Let's start with the Valkyrie, a warrior in the service of Odin, and actually destined to lead the souls of brave deceased warriors to Valhalla. Even these were not spared from the war and had to fight until the end of the known world. Anatomy first. Valkyries are powerful warriors who were superior to human warriors both physically and mentally. I thought she should be around 2 meters tall, maybe taller. Then I took a look at my older attempts and brought them also in. And I also picked out some references that show women who look muscular but still lean and tall, rather wiry, as my Valkyrie is a survivor of a long war that only broke out after the 4-year long lasting Fimbulwinter. This means that war not only takes its toll on the soul, but also on the body. Resources and food are rare, and the survivors struggle with hunger. In addition, their faces should also reflect the many years of violence and fighting for survival. The question of what and whether something will come afterwards, and is the world able to recover, is omnipresent. At first I played around with the hair, but then I quickly came to the conclusion that braided hair is the best or least disturbing for a warrior. You can still see it on boxers or other female martial artists today. I adjusted the eyes again later. The next question is the outfit. This statue of some sort of shield maiden that seems historically accurate. You can see that the Valkyrie is wearing a petticoat and a kind of leather jerkin over it. Nevertheless, I wanted to play a little with my own ideas. And like always keeping in mind that this is gear you don't freeze in. The lower layers should cover the arms and legs and preferably be made of fabric or leather. The armor should look worn and used. Since the Valkyrie is large but not bulky, the armor should be light and allow her to fight with as little fatigue as possible. Many parts wear out over time, so it doesn't hurt to indicate that some parts of the outfit have been replaced or repaired over time. After the first outfit, I was satisfied, but not yet happy. I questioned the size of the Valkyrie again, but in a direct comparison, I quickly realized that I liked the larger version better. Now it was time to look after the outfits. How about, for example, armor that was a little more reminiscent of a crusader or the Urukai from the Lord of the Rings? The many small pieces of armor and triangular edges make the warrior look well protected and menacing, but still agile. In another variation I made something that looks more like a leather jerkin and is a little more reminiscent of shield maidens than a Valkyrie. Then I made this, whatever this is. Sometimes you have to take a few wrong turns. Oh, and by the way, I do all the stuff with Procreate with an iPad 10 or so. The temperature aspect and the winter, which covered everything in ice for years, didn't leave me in peace. So I took a fresh look at the whole thing and thought that the outfit needed more layers. Firstly, an outfit that is more similar of a petticoat. I was very happy with this version in the end. Finally, to make the Valkyrie design even more wintry, she needed a big coat, preferably with fur trim. This would protect her from the cold wind and simplify, but still improve her overall shape design. If I ever get the idea of modeling a low poly version of her in Blender, this could help. Finally, a kind of emblem adorning her coat was missing, more like a reminder of her whole task and purpose. Wings always have something sacred and sublime about them, and circles are often seen as an association for eternity and processes without an ending. Fitting, I think. Later I wanted to think about a slightly more bulk Valkyrie and went back to my Urukai version of the Valkyrie, as using my own reference. I kind of had in my head to depict her within sort of a crown and ornate armor, leaning half dead on her greatsword. She's standing on a huge pile of defeated enemies. Not bad either. But I soon came back to my first Valkyrie. I made a character turnaround to eventually have the opportunity to make 3D sculpt out of it. Maybe I print her out as a miniature too with my 3D printer later, we see. Finally, I thought about Ragnarök again. Some texts say that exactly 2 people are left and everyone else dies. Lif and Lifthrasier. These 2 should survive and build a new civilization for mankind. Somehow similar to Adam and Eve, I wanted to show these 2 scared, emaciated and traumatized. After all, they have just experienced a war in which humans had little chance of surviving between fighting giants, gods, Valkyries, resurrected warriors and other creatures. I think their poses reflect that very well. Together I think these characters are pretty cool and I'm slowly getting into drawing them. What do you think about the characters? Are you familiar with Norse mythology? What do you think about Ragnarök and what comes after?